Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Upper Tier Podcast. It's another week, another Raw, another rundown, and we have assembled, of course, the four horsemen of PWW: myself, Keith, Bren, and Niall. Guys, tell me, how are you doing? Keith, start with yourself. How was your weekend? How was your long bank holiday weekend?
Great, enjoyed it. To be honest with you, I was looking forward to Raw as well to see how it ended for the go home show, and looking forward to chatting about it.
Brenstar, how are you doing, pal?
I'm good. I'm excited. It's great to be here. I tell you, I seen that film with Hugh Jackman with Wolverine, the Sheep Detective. It wasn't mad on it. Anything outside of that, it wasn't too crazy. But here we are.
Was it good? Was it any good? Like, I've seen ads for it, but I've not even.
Look, don't take this the wrong way to any of our watchers in the UK, but it is quite English, and nothing against quite English. It's just not my jam. You know what I mean? It's a bit English, and then every now and again, now there's some moments in it that are touching.
Go on, Brand, just say it. Just say it. It was pox.
Proper
Republic. It was a proxy. It was a proxy.
Sorry. What's the movie?
It was called The Sheep Detective.
The Sheep Detective.
Or something like that. Tell you what, it was no Michael. It was no Michael. You know what I mean? But we'll touch on that because I owe this channel a film show. So
movies about sheep aside, Niall, how was your weekend, pal? Tell us.
I had a great weekend. I was very busy doing plenty of work around the house, catching up on stuff and all that. And then I came home today, and what's sitting down in the hall? A big ass box of replica belts. Can't wait to crack it open later.
No way.
I'll tell you what, Niall. I'm going to
open them for the show.
I was going to say, you're going to open them live unboxing on the show, Niall. Can we make at least 10 to 15 minutes on that, please? Come on.
I'll see. I'll have to
get down classics or are they modern?
They're the wrestler belts. So you got the Punk Spinner, you got the Roman Reigns Tribal Chief one. And then you've got the two Vegas belts, the gold one and the black and silver one. Really, really cool.
They're beautiful.
Really cool. So looking forward to seeing them.
If you feel like it and you're in the mood later on, feel free to break one of them open. How are you to Acers? Layla, how's it going? Dave Kelly, we'll get to you later on in the show. Obviously, hope you're doing well. Dean Fitz, how are you doing, pal? Right, we'll get onto it, lads. We'll get straight into it. Raw. We'll start with Keith. What did you think of Raw yourself? Give us a bit of the ups and downs. What was your most liked? What was your most disliked?
Well, Raw was okay this week, to be honest. The start of it was actually good. I liked it when they were teasing Roman to come out, and then I do think we're going to get Seth and Roman at some point because it looked like they were teasing that, to be honest, at the start. I was surprised to see that Braun Breaker and Seth was heavily advertised for Raw this week. I thought we would have gotten a bit more Roman and Jacob, but look, I'm not complaining, to be honest. Two guys are sensational. The Finn Balor and JD McDonough match was good, but to be honest, I can't get invested in this. I just don't know what is up with it.
Is this your complete and or just discontent and fed up with the Judgment Day?
Yeah, I'm fed up with the Judgment Day. I really am fed up with the Judgment Day, to be honest with you. Look,
drink it in, man. Drink it in.
It ain't Niall. It's not. It's fucking go already. Like honestly, you had 4 years now at this point. Just go.
Go on,
anyways.
Keith. You tell him, Keith.
Fucking 40 years of fucking Taker. Will you fuck off?
Here, don't give a flying F.
4 years.
Are you comparing the Undertaker to Judgment Day?
No, that's not what I'm saying. He was talking about I've had 4 years of this, you know, whereas the old boy stunk out the place for the last 10 years of his career. Let's go.
At least he put on some good matches, in fairness. Like,
yeah, four in the streak of 30 odd. Yeah, get the fuck out.
Anyway, Keith, enough of your trolling. What's your favorite points of Raw this week? What was your peak?
I like the Becky and Sol Ruka thing. That was interesting, to be honest with you. I'm intrigued to see where they're going to go with this. If it's just a teaser for SummerSlam, maybe, or are they actually going to run with this for a while? Not too sure. And now people are going to be shocked by this, but the Asuka and Io Sky thing, the promo segment for that was actually good. To be honest, I did enjoy
Keith
that.
Must need some good karma in the bank. You must be having a lot of bad karma lately. Fair play, Keith.
You okay, Keith? You all right? You need a hug?
No, it's good. I admit it was good. Like, do you know, I would. Like,
wow, okay.
Niall, do you want to name that hill for Keith there, please? It's his first one, I think, on the podcast.
Here, at least it's my first hill. Give me
Hill, Keith and Hill. So, Keith is sand dunes. It's just sand
Mhm.
dunes, not hills. People stands on sand dunes. Bren is the hills.
All right. Well, let's move on then to Mr. Hill, Mr. Brendan Hill. How did you feel about Raw?
I enjoyed Raw. I thought there was some good points. I'm a little bit. Oh, look, I'll just get into it and then we'll touch on the
Mhm.
other stuff in a little bit. That bit with Seth Rollins and Reigns, I don't necessarily think they were. It was brilliant, but I don't necessarily think they were teasing. They were probably teasing in an alliance, maybe. That's what
Yeah.
I got from it.
No,
Because nobody.
no,
No,
Seth,
no.
Seth was never
This
pinned.
was
He wants the
this
title back.
was this was the TKO guy versus the non-TKO guy. That's what I took out of that. I thought that was
but
really cool.
how cool is it, right? That Keith seeing something different, I seen something different, and you're seeing something
Oh
different,
yeah.
and it's very,
Mm.
very good, and I like that. Very, very cool. Breaker looks electric. He looks lightning coming into Backlash. Did you notice? I picked up on something, and maybe I'm being a little bit pedantic, Pat.
Mhm.
Michael Cole on commentary mentioned Trouble in Paradise when he was talking about the
Kobe
Judgment Day,
Kingston. Yeah.
and
I think it
just
was.
kind of
I think it was a little nod. I don't think it was just a little of. I know you're gone. I just want to tip the hat to you. I'll sneak it in there. Simple as that.
But isn't it just a weird coincidence that last week Joe Hendry had a song about being fired, and then this week this week again? It's just typical WWE. It's like JR going to Oklahoma. You know he's going to get humiliated. I thought JD and Finn were bleeding deadly. What else have I got? Because I want to fly through this. I thought the tag team match. I thought All Ego Ethan Page was phenomenal. He's he's rapid. Love seeing him. Sol Ruka, deadly. I won't hear a bad word about Sol Ruka in this segment. This segment was perfect. Becky was brilliant, and
Yeah,
Sol
Bren,
Ruka.
tell us a little bit more about Becky, because obviously she done really, really well putting Sol Ruka over, as she always does. Becky is a
Phenomenal.
master at this point at putting
Io
people over.
Giannetti. She got it in there. She got Io Giannetti in there. Becky's the best. She's the absolute best. She got it in there, and Sol Ruka, and everybody's focused on a certain section of it. I'm not going to focus on it because
No,
I
didn't
just
draw away from
thought.
it though.
No, I understand, and I just thought it was brilliant. I thought Adam Pearce was deadly when Becky punched Adam Pearce. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
Adam Pearce is a diamond. Look, I'll get to the Obafemi thing.
Yeah,
He's
yeah. I
he's still,
mean,
he still has the brown balls.
Niall,
around
Niall's
his-
already
Can we leave
thinking
that
of
for
leaving,
Niall,
but
please?
He-
no, Brendan, what's your thoughts?
he has the brown balls around his neck, and ever since Niall pointed it out, I can't not see the brown balls around his neck, and I don't like them now. And I don't fucking. And do you know what's worse? I was on the Book of Faces the other day, scrolling through. WWE shop comes up, and the brown balls come up. The
They
brown
will be
balls.
available in Wrestling Mania, top floor, Stevens Green, third
I
floor.
don't want
beside
brown
Ashley.
balls around my
You
neck.
can get your brown balls at Wrestling Mania, folks.
I don't want brown balls around my neck. Look, this was just to show that Oba was strong. He was this, he was that. I don't know.
It only
I don't
runs
know.
for so long, Brian. They have to do something eventually with that. Like,
Yeah.
that can only last for so long, to be honest.
Well, look,
with
we'll see what happens. The EOS guy and the Oscar bit was deadly. The Americanos were class, and the contract signing. I thought the contract signing was like Roman Reigns was different level again. Again, he's different level, right? And it was I was just I I was watching it, and toward this what made me look this what's making me look back on Raw fondly. I remember watching it going, this is why I watch it. This is it. That's why I tune in. That's fucking it. And Reigns was phenomenal. And you know what? Jacob was good too. My only question about that segment is about 3 segments previous to that, the Usos were there and they were like, yeah, we gonna be there. We gonna be there in case something goes down. Well, they weren't there. They just weren't there. But other than that, deadly. Really, really liked it. And by the way, and the last thing I'll say is there's no bleeding way Reigns is losing on Saturday. Not a chance. Not happening. No way. And those rumors, I don't know what they are. I spoke about them in a short. We don't know what the crack is just yet, and I guess we'll get to it. But look, overall, I enjoyed watching Raw this week. I did. I enjoyed watching Raw.
Right, Niall, let's go on to yourself. Give us your rundown on what you thought of Raw. Let it rip, son. Let it rip, son. I don't want any censorship at all.
Where do I begin? Reigns is his
Brown balls.
beautiful best self, as he always is. I thought Roman was excellent. I thought the promo was excellent. I thought the interaction with Seth was excellent. I thought Roman had one of his strongest Raws yet, to be honest. I thought he was sensational. And I loved the bit when he spoke to Jacob about how he's not providing for a family, he's providing for all the families, which I thought was really cool. And I thought that promo as well was a little bit of a message to TKO that basically, I'm not one guy on this roster here. I carry this fucking roster. And I thought it was kind of subliminal of that as well. And there was a lot of that on this show. This show did kind of feel like it was a well put together show and it got off really well. But there was that kind of under feeling about it, that there was a little bit of, say, trouble in paradise, if you want, in the background and stuff like that. I don't need to talk any further about Obafemi, did I? The Mr. Obafemi guy there to my right has checked out on him already 3 weeks post-Mania.
I didn't
3
check
weeks
out on him.
post-Mania. Whoa. 3 weeks post-Mania, this guy retired Brock Lesnar. I said on this show last week, Grayson Waller. On this show this week, we get Otis. You're checking out on the beads that you were dancing around, and 3 weeks ago you thought was the coolest thing in the world. And you've checked out.
Not brown balls.
You've checked out on your guy again. You've checked out on your guy again. You're either in or out. You can't just dip your toe in the pond. You're either in with him or you're not. And you nailed yourself to that mast. You told us for 5 weeks you had nailed your flag to that mast. And now that flag is at half mast. And probably by at the back of Backlash, it'll be on the floor. You have checked out on that guy. 3 weeks post-Mania, this guy retired Brock Lesnar. We said it last week. They haven't got a clue what they do with these guys when they bring them up at times. And everyone laughed at me, go, oh no, he's the man. Everyone on TikTok is doing the dance. He's so over, blah, 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 blah. I got into Ruler t-shirts last week. Do you know how many I've sold? 0. That's how over he is.
To be fair, I didn't see them.
They have the brown balls on them and they say the Ruler. So you must have seen them. So that's all I have to say about that. You retire Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Your career doesn't get any bigger than that. And the following week, they wheel out Grayson Waller. And the following week, they reel out Otis. It's game over for that guy. Bring Apollo Crews back. They can tag together on main event. It's all done. It's over. Forget about it. Done. The rest of the show, Penta was his brilliant self as always. Brilliant by Ethan Page, of course. Much better match than, of course, his buddy on SmackDown had, but we don't need to get into that. You touched that on the show. Had a sensational debut. That other guy, didn't he? Yeah, they're all ready to go here. Balor and JD. Can I say any more about that? I couldn't give a rat's about Asuka and Io Sky, to be honest, because they dropped the Carrie Sane thing, and now there's talk today. We're saying that they might bring Carrie Sane to finish the line. What an absolute waste of money. This is our truth. Ron Cena again. No one's going to give a shit. Stop wasting the money on it. It's done. You drop the ball, you can't pick it back up. Done. Sol Ruka, brilliant. Becky, absolutely brilliant. And the interaction between Reigns and Seth Rollins was absolutely sensational. Altogether, really, really enjoyed Raw. So go home, Raw. Don't forget, folks, 10:30 Saturday. Backlash, watch along. Join us.
We are watching along.
Apparently, John Cena has an announcement.
Backlash.
Yes, it's probably the release date for WWE Club or Club WWE. Keith, you spoke about this a few weeks ago, or was it last week, about how you liked when Raw started off hyping up the main event, right? Now, they did that this week. They gave us Roman Reigns in the opening segment with Seth Rollins. He wanted to go out and cut his promo. Pierce told him, Jacob's not here yet. And we got the promo at the very end of the show. Did that make a difference at all to you this week? Because you spoke about it quite heavily in previous weeks about needing that teaser to the end.
Yeah, well, I thought they've done very well with it, to be honest with you. And I thought they've actually built Jacob up very well over the last couple of weeks since they started doing this.
No, I haven't.
No, I thought they've, like, obviously, look, if they're going to go with Roman to win this, they probably will. But my concern is going forward is, like, if he's not going to be here in June, you know, that's just going to be a dampener, I think, to be quite honest with you, for when he ever does come back. Personally, I'm a big fan of Jacob Fatu. I would love to see Jacob hold the title because I think he's just sensational. I love
Do you not
him
think
all
it's
the way.
too soon for him? Do you think he needs a bit more build-up time, or do you think he's ready?
I would like to see this storyline progress a bit longer, and if they could continue on with a bit longer. But the problem is, we don't know what the story is with Roman Reigns. We don't know if he's going to be around in June. By the looks of it, he's not. So,
Are we-
yeah,
Are we
go on.
touching on that throughout the show, by the way? Because I read a theory online and it sounds kind of more legit. Are we touching on it? Will I wait till that?
What's that, Brendan? What are we touching on?
About Reigns not appearing in June and all the speculation.
Yes. We'll be touching on that. Don't worry. That
Okay,
is another
yeah,
section to
I'll
the
bring it up
podcast.
later. Fair enough. Yeah, my apologies.
Yeah, look, overall, I've quite enjoyed the build up to this. Like I said from day one, when they did this after Mania, I said, yes, I said, I'm in for this. Like, I really want these two to face each other. You know, as I said, a big fan of the two of them. So I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I hope things change and they do continue on with this because I just think these two are money overall.
Yeah, let's take some comments actually while we run through these. David Kelly says, "Do you know why they had Asuka backstage? They didn't want to hear the Kyrie chants." I don't know if that's true.
I totally disagree with that, David.
What are your thoughts on
man.
that, guys? Because I like me personally, I spoke about this at the start. I enjoyed the production value and
It's
maybe more invested.
They
in it.
edited out. They did the Kyrie chants, didn't
Well,
they?
the only reason I don't think it's true is because it's consistent with other segments they've done with other feuds. You know, and it worked. People like those feuds. They get good feedback on them, so they do it again. So I don't think that's true, Davey. I'm sorry.
Finn versus JD was good. Absolutely.
It's a good match.
Brian, how important is it to get two people in the ring that have grown up together and known each other so well and seeing how good that is in the ring?
Well, that was a good thing about it. You mentioned that, which was good.
I'm very proud of obviously being Irish, right? I'm very proud of being from Ireland, and I always say it. Like, some of my favorite singers are Irish, some of my favorite wrestlers are Irish. We're very lucky to have Balor. We're very lucky to have JD McDonough. We're very lucky to have Sheamus, Fit Finlay, and it goes on. We're Becky, of course, and even bring it home, Katie Harvey, Session Martina. I'll say it. So there you go. No, Lyra, of course. But yeah, we're so lucky. So the point is, the importance of it is incredible because it's inspiring to the people that are going into Fight Factory, that are going into the Irish School of Wrestling to train. And it's important for us to see that and to put on a stellar match, a match that stole Raw. That's what I have in my notes. Stole Raw, as far as I'm concerned. Best match on Raw by a country mile. Absolute pleasure. I'd watch it twice on Sunday.
Another waste of time for Oba bleeding squash match. Yeah. Sorry, go on now.
Yeah. I was going to say we would expect nothing less from the two boys, in fairness.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, absolutely. I don't think I've ever watched a match between them that would disappoint.
Royce versus Oba. Now, there's an interesting one. Would you expect this now, lads, for Saturday night's main event? It's obviously not going to happen at Backlash. Could you see it happening maybe next week, or would it happen?
I hope not.
At Saturday night's main event.
It presents a big problem. It does, because if Royce loses straight away, he's in on the back foot. Absolute balls. They shouldn't do that, and if they do that, I'll be flipping tables. I won't lose.
I tell you one thing. If they cared enough, that's a tag team, isn't it? If they cared enough.
If they cared about tag team wrestling, Niall, that is a tag team that you could put the titles on for 2 years and nobody would argue the point. You know, they would be an attraction. Imagine
the stuff those athletes could get up to, being absolutely phenomenal athletes for their size and everything else. Imagine what they could do together as a team. Phenomenal.
It'd be unreal. It would
be amazing. But I think, as you said, if they cared enough, and as we know,
the thing about it is, I think if they build up Royce enough, lads, that's a SummerSlam match for me. That's a big four match. If they invest in these boys.
But Niall, do you not think they're keeping that for Roman and Nova?
Yeah. So because you have Royce and Jacob quite tight, and we had that promo on SmackDown. Do you think Royce is either going to be inserted into this Bloodline Civil War as part of a Survivor Series War Games team, or do you think they're keeping him for Oba for SummerSlam?
It's a real difficult to think about, like the War Games and the Bloodline stuff and things like that, because when the Bloodline are together,
Michael Cole did say Civil War 3 times last night.
Yeah, so I don't know, but it'd be I don't know. Because it's kind of like it's kind of like in a civil war like that, where are the heels going to come from? This is the heels that we back in a civil war. You know, when
Which
we're
would be
kind
Solo,
of
wouldn't it?
fans of the whole collective. Yeah, but we're big fans of Solo as well. And we know that if he gets back into that bloodline mix, how good is Solo going to be? You know, he's
As
gonna
long
be
as they let
Dave's
me
not
Solo.
Solo. I know that.
If they let Solo be Solo, we're off to the races.
Yeah. I want nearly Solo to develop in a way that he's nearly that Samoan, because his character development is insane, and the stuff he did. And I know we're not huge fans of the MFTs and stuff like that and all, but the stuff
what was the
Solo has
MFTs?
done on that journey himself has been amazing at times. His character development and the promos and the facials and the reactions and the psychology, I think, has been excellent.
But
I think the problem
goes to
is,
show, doesn't it?
Go ahead.
It goes to show, doesn't it? Like when these opportunities are presented by the upper heads, and to these people to say, you have a stable, you're the head of that stable. Solo is the person to take that by the scruff of the neck and say, well, I'm going to use this to develop myself further and to make myself, stand out.
Do you know what it is? I think sometimes WWE just get lucky and they stumble across something and it clicks and it works, and away they go off to the races with it. And you'll find that at times when the product dips down, they suddenly just stumble across something like this and they go,
like the Alexa and Charlotte thing, I think.
Yeah, like that, and like the Yes movement with Daniel Bryan and all, the most simplest thing in the world and all, they stumble across
the lightning in a bottle,
and it develops legs of its own and just takes off and stuff like that and all. But I think there's so many guys in there at the moment, and girls, I suppose, that are just untapped in terms of their true potential. And I think there's huge opportunity there. And I think even TKO, and we're going to talk about TKO later, obviously. And the part of the conversation that's going on there is, we'll get into it. We're sick of people sitting backstage and fucking catering. Let's get people out here who actually want to put in a shift. And I think that's why I think over the next number of months, the way things are going to evolve, people are actually going to have to go out and earn their money and not sit on the laurels about what they did 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, or the fact that they're there 18 years. You're only as good as your last year in the entertainment business. Actors are only as good as their last movie. You know what I mean? Just look at The Rock. There's the perfect example. You know what I mean? So I think that's the way it's going to evolve. And I think what we're going to do is I think we're going to get a better product. But I think we're going to see a greater depth to some of these guys and girls in there, because it's going to be absolutely pulled out. And because they know now they're going to have to show up to work and put in a shift and not sit in catering and not be seen as the trombone guy or, the New Day or whatever we want to talk about. We will get into it. But I think we're going to see an uplift in the product over the next few months. And I think TKO as a business, I think they're very much performance driven. And I think they're probably just sick of people sitting backstage, scratching their backside, taking a paycheck.
But do you not think, Niall?
Sorry, go on, Brian.
No, I was going to say, like, how do you do that? Like, if you, I get what you're saying, right? But I think some people get hard done by. I don't think some people have a choice. And how do you do that when, say, SmackDown's being cut from 3 to 2, which, by the way, is my preference? But to get everybody on the one show, to fit all those ads in, it's just not going to be possible. Yeah. And some people are going to be hard done by. And that's kind of where I am on that.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke last week about the shows, and they're going to have to look at the structure of the shows and how to get people to show their wares. Maybe they get a stint every 2 weeks or whatever it is, or they fix it up. What we don't want is a big, huge collection of 8-man tags and swimming matches and all this kind of stuff where everyone gets 2 minutes and you don't really learn anything about anyone, especially with so many new people coming up onto the roster now as well. But I think they're going to have to figure it out. But listen, the perfect example of this is Elon Musk took over Twitter and he got rid of 50,000 employees. And Twitter still works as good as it ever did, and everything still hangs the way it used to. And what I mean? So you have to cut the fat. Now, I get your point, whether it's the right people or the wrong people. Sure. But where do you make the decision? Where is the decision to be made in this? You know what I mean? Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, you know how reactionary the WWE universe is anyway. So if they fucking sacked Yokozuna from the grave, there'll be people in uproar about it. You know what I mean? This is the way they carry on. Every person they let go or every person they sack should have been a fucking world champion, should have been a king of the ring, should have been a this.
It's a sympathy vote, isn't it? Because
you know what I mean. And at some stage, you have to look at it and you have to go. You sat on your backside for 5 years in catering. You didn't give a fuck, and now because you're getting shown the door, now you want to care. Sorry, but it's
almost like the IWC has a sympathy, isn't it? A sympathy vote for these people. And I get what you're saying, Niall. And it's funny, hindsight is a magical thing at times. I remember hearing Daniel Bryan speak in an interview, and I think the Miz said the same thing as well. Daniel Bryan said that there's guys in that locker room who stand at the door waiting for the card to be posted and are nervous, and when they don't see their name on the card, they breathe a sigh of relief because they know they're getting paid anyway and they don't have to do any of the work. Now, this was years and years ago that Daniel Bryan said this in an interview, and The Miz said something similar. So there's evidence there of this not just happening recently, but there's evidence there of this going on for years. And somebody said the likes of Fandango was the worst culprit of it, where Fandango would happily take the money and walk and not have to work.
Yeah. Well, we
so spoke about how many others were back there.
Yeah, but like everyone knows, right? I was big on Aleister Black. I'm an Aleister Black fan, especially from the Black and Gold days on NXT and stuff like that. He was absolutely phenomenal. You only have to go back and look at what he did on NXT and that fucking Phil Booker T talking shite during the week. I'm not going to be listening to that kind of fucking nonsense. Especially from a guy who's run a wrestling promotion for about 15 years that I can't even tell you one match that happened in it. So there you go. But not neither here nor there. But yeah, I think but from my situation in terms of stuff like that and all, and I said it last week, the onus is also on Aleister Black to go and knock on fucking Creative's door and say, what the fuck is going on here? You've brought me back. What have you got for me? What's the ideas? And pitch a few ideas. Now, that may or may not have happened. I don't know. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel.
We'll never know what goes on behind. We'll never know what goes on behind the scenes. And yeah, you're right.
And like
you're right. You're absolutely
and then you look and then you look at the New Day, and we all love the New Day. We're all fans of the New Day. We all knew when Biggie stepped out when he got the neck injury that there was going to be a kind of an issue there. He was the heart and soul of it at times. Like Xavier, he's been brilliant. We know how brilliant they've been and stuff like that. But how brilliant they've been. And we did say, if you remember, we did say at one stage last year they were going to break both these guys up as single competitors. And what did we say was going to happen? We mentioned on the podcast at that time that if both these guys go as single competitors, it will only be months before they're shown the door because they won't know what to do with them. They won't be able to put them on the show and they wouldn't have a clue what to do. So they rode the wave of the trombone and the unicorn and the Budios and the pancakes and all that stuff. And that moment at WrestleMania 33 when they brought the Hardys out and all, that lives and runs in our minds. Unbelievable. We love the New Day. And this is not about people losing their jobs either. We don't want anyone to lose their jobs. But you can't just keep on hiring people. You can't just keep on putting more ingredients into the fucking bowl to make the cake. You know what I mean? It doesn't work that way. Someone has to fall out at the bottom. You hopefully are the guy that works or girl that works hard and you're not the one to fall bottom, that you're the one that is giving them a reason to see marketing in you, performance, merchandise sales, social media, everything that comes with being a superstar. And if that's not there or if parts of that are missing, well then sorry, this is not the business for you. And that's the harsh reality of this. And I've told you, Brian, how many conversations have we had? Billionaires don't become billionaires by making bad decisions. They make good decisions and become billionaires. And we may not like it, and we may not feel horrible about the wealth, and we might think that the money is insane and all that kind of stuff. But I made the point, and I said it to Dave the other day as well, and I know we haven't even gone on to the topic. That guy,
we will get onto the topic, don't we?
0.5% of what TKO is worth. And I'm telling you now, I said it already. I said to you guys in the chat as well, Ari Emanuel.
Okay, sorry.
The head of TKO, the CEO. And I turned around and I said, if I was paying myself 0.5% out of what I take out of my business, I wouldn't have a gaff and I'd be living on the street. So let's there, you know what I mean? But because we are beings who live normal lives, we see 67 million and we go, Jesus Christ, 67 million. That's a snip in the ocean. Elon Musk threatened to walk away from Twitter 6 months ago because they wouldn't give him a 5 billion bonus. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. So, reality sets. But go on, back to you, Dave.
Right. So we'll finish up on Raw. Keith, give us an out of 10 for Raw. What would you give it this week just to finish up on things? And we'll move on to the TKO because, I want to hear Keith and Brent's opinions on TKO. What's your out of 10 for Raw, Keith?
It was a solid show. I'll give it about 7 out of 10. To be honest.
Brent?
Look, I'll go one more. Always a bit more positive than Keith. I'll give it an 8. Beat that, Keith.
1 decibel.
Niall, what's your out of 10 on Raw?
Yeah, similar to the boys, around a 7 or an 8 and stuff like that. There wasn't anything exceptionally bad about it. Obviously I'm disappointed in Alba and stuff like that because I want better for him and stuff like that and all. But that's just the way it is, But yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see how they do this now.
Just a quick question: How do you see Jacob Fatu at the moment being pushed? Like, do you think this is only a temporary thing, or do you think they're going to go with it long term?
I think he's there for the long term. I really do. Because, you got to remember as well, we know there's all contractual stuff going on with Roman at the moment and stuff like that as well. But, as you said before, Keith, on these podcasts, these boys are getting up there in years, so they have to find the next level and stuff like that and promote that next level up and stuff, So, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Jacob Fatu and stuff like that. The only thing I don't get about Jacob yet, and maybe it's because it hasn't happened yet, he is a superstar, but he doesn't have that aura about him. Sometimes he just comes across as a slob, that kind of way, and he doesn't come across.
Funny, that's why Laura doesn't like him. I just want to touch on that now because Laura she said the same thing. I don't like him because he looks dirty.
Yeah, it's not even that, but when Roman comes out, he drips of wanting to be the face of your company. He has an aura about him. He has a presence. Now, listen, not everyone's going to be blessed with Roman Reigns' genetics either, and his good looks and his perfect beard and his beautiful teeth and everything else that goes with it and his body.
All right, Niall,
so we know in business, roads. We love all different.
He makes him his money, Brent. Don't forget.
But I don't get. I don't get that. I get the superstar of Jacob, but I don't get the megastar. I don't know whether he's the guy that becomes the face of the company. I don't expect Jacob Fatu at some stage to be in a suit on Jimmy Fallon. I don't expect him to be the ESPN studio. Now maybe this could go that way, but I don't think it's there at the moment.
Brent, before you jump in there, Brent, would you compare Jacob to Kevin Owens, for example?
No. Because I look
in terms of superstar power and aura, he's there. He can be a champion.
I think Jacob's still more to him.
No, but I don't necessarily agree with that either. I think Dean just said what I was going to say. Jacob is still extremely raw, and he's dead right. If you remember Roman Reigns, if you had told me in 2015 that Roman Reigns was going to be what he is today, I would have said, you absolute mad thing. I just didn't see it.
Don't get me wrong, I would have said the same.
And look at him now. So my thing on Jacob is, and I think Dean has it spot on, he's still raw. Niall, you are 100%, because as Keith, as you were asking that question, what came into my head is he has to evolve. He has to reach a point where the yada yada yadas, they ho-hos, they have to go, and he has to evolve, and he has to take that next step. And I think Niall's question is, can he do it? Do we see him in the suit? And we don't know yet. And I don't know yet. So I think between Niall and Dean, they've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Now remember as well. Sorry, Dave. Remember as well. When Roman came up first as well, there's a amount of slop as well and stuff like that as well. You know what I mean?
It took him time.
So it can happen. There's no doubt it can happen. But I just look at it and I'm not too sure. I think these guys are well capable of being, world champions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But with being the world champion, you have to carry yourself, as Bren would say, like the QB1, like the Cody Rhodes, like the Roman Reigns. I actually could say even at a certain level, and I love Seth Rollins, but I don't even know if Seth Rollins 100% carries himself at that level. I think he still represents the company very well. I think he looks the part. Yeah. I think his wrestling is unbelievable, and as a performer, he's phenomenal and all that kind of stuff. But it's that feeling you get. When Roman comes out, you'll get the chance and you'll get all the other stuff as well. And
But
listen,
eyes torn.
I love Seth Rollins. Yeah, but you know, it's like, you know, when you turn around, you know, when Cena came out at WrestleMania, it's different gravy. It's different gravy.
Yeah.
It's a different stand. When The Rock comes out and Austin comes out, it's a different way the hair stands on your arm. And only
100%.
as Dave says,
And
point the
Taker.
lightning in a bottle.
That's what they're in there.
No, don't be stupid. That's ridiculous.
People paid more money to see Undertaker take half an hour to walk down to the ring than to actually see him wrestle.
Well,
Just saying.
They
I
got
know
so
people
sick
who've
of him
done
on LFG. They put Malay as a booker. Come on. Do I need to say anything else now? No? Seriously. Don't be triggering me with taking
look,
now.
it's-
Or we're gonna go in. We're gonna go into the trenches here tonight now.
It's the funny how things go full circle though, lads, because when the Shield first came into WWE, you would have looked past Roman to Dean and Seth as the next
She's on it, Sean. She's in there.
you know, as the next big thing.
The next guy,
You would have
Dave,
looked right past Roman, and now you're looking at Roman, you can't even see the other two.
Dave, Dean Ambrose was my guy. I went into Niall's shop and I bought he got one of the Ambrose shorts in, and I got it. I still have it somewhere. It doesn't fit me anymore, obviously, because I'm twice the size I used to be. But I said it.
And now you're embarrassed to wear it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but only because I look like a tool. But yeah, no,
You look like that anyway, but we don't judge.
For me, it was Ambrose. I said Ambrose is the future. No, it's not. Watch, mark my words. It won't be Roman Reigns. My Jesus, how wrong was I? And I'm not wrong often.
No,
Am I?
You're not. You're not. Right. Let's take that belt's moving on its own. Jesus Christ. Poltergeist. I know it's sniff. Right. Besides Bren's poltergeist, right? Let's take a few comments. Big up, Mark. Cheers for coming in. Eamon as well. Racking up the comments. Cheers, Eamon. Rib shots in as well. Mark has an interesting comment there about a documentary coming out on Channel 4 about calling Wrestling with Trump. I've not even seen anything about that, but I will definitely have a look at that. So Dean says hiring evil and letting Alistair Black go.
Sorry, Dave. If anyone hasn't watched the Shawn Michaels documentary, it's sensational.
It's brilliant.
Becoming
it's
the Heartbreak
phenomenal.
Kid. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
There's also a Hulk Hogan documentary.
Yeah, which you'll see the ads for on Raw this week again for the 50th time. Hiring evil and letting Alistair Black go, that literally makes no sense at all. They wore many feuds AB could have faced. Nothing makes sense at all since Mania. Do you know what, Dean? I think you're smack bang on the money, mate. I genuinely feel the same. Nothing's been proper since Mania, and there is things that feel different to me.
Well, there's always a drop off after Mania, isn't there?
There always is, yeah. TKO are billionaires and they don't make good decisions. Well, Niall had made a good comment. They're not billionaires because they make bad decisions. So,
but Niall also said as well, just on what you said there, Dave, and this stuck with me. You said it to me the other day when I was in the shop. You can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. It's a simple analogy, but it works. So nothing might make sense now, but it may make sense in the future. Now, I'm not defending those billionaire bastards, which we'll get to later on.
Yep, it's all jealousy with Bren. He wishes he had at least 5% of those billions because he would make us all rich and he'd buy us all houses. But the future, who knows? We'll crack on. So New Day are gone because TKO are getting rid of non-main eventers. Oh,
sorry about that.
You go back there. No, you're right. New Day are gone because TKO are getting rid of non-main eventers over 40. We're going to be left with aging headliners and mostly green roster. Now, that's funny, Ribshot, because over the last year or so, well, maybe less actually, Keith has basically said the roster's aging out. But if they're getting rid of main eventers over 40, they're not getting rid of CM Punk. They're not getting rid of Reigns. They're not getting rid of Rollins. So we're actually being left with a fair distance in age. Young talent and veteran main eventers, which isn't a bad thing if you get the young talent to work with the main eventers, teach them something. But that's interesting because Keith was very big on that at one point about the age of the roster and them coming off. It's a good point though, Ribshot, I have to say. So moving on to the next one. Jacob is still extremely raw. Anyone else agree? I'm a big fan, but feels a little restrained for me, like creative in himself or a little anxious of what he may say. Do you know what, lads? I'm going to touch on that for a second because that's a good point. Do you think Jacob is being held back and they're just afraid? Again, is this Trips playing it safe as he normally does?
I think they cleaned him up. I think he's not his crazy self that he was when he first came in. He's a bit more polished up, I think. That's why I've gone with him, to be honest with you.
Brent, thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree with him. I said it a few minutes ago. I think Dean and Niall had they circled the perfect analogy there. He definitely is a little bit restrained, and like that, Keith, you're dead on. I think he's a little bit more polished, but I think he has to be. He has to be because he has to evolve. He can't stay yabba dabba dooey. He has to evolve, and that's all there is to it.
No, that's fair. I mean, I call him Mr. Wiggles. I can't say
you
a word.
wouldn't you wouldn't say his face.
I would in a setting where I paid for his autograph, but other than that, no, I wouldn't. I would say it to him in public. But right, we'll move on because I have a little game for you guys. And I didn't tell you because I want your real opinion, right? This is, well, Niall knows because this is the slide. We're going to speak about, before we hit TKO, because we spoke a bit about that already, All Elite Wrestling.
Oh my Jesus.
Not being renewed by Warner Brothers Discovery, and Paramount are not taking on AEW as a client in the future. So each of you are tasked, right? And I'm going to make this funny because I'm going to see what you think. I'm going to go to each one of you guys and I'm going to say, Tony Khan's been sacked. You've been put in charge. Your deal runs up in 6 months with Warner Bros. Discovery / Paramount. What are you going to do? There's talk about them moving to YouTube while they try and find a TV deal. But if you're put in Tony Khan's position where you've got this ginormous roster of talent and you're about to lose your TV deal, we'll start with you, Keith. Where would you go? What would you do with AEW sitting in your hands?
Well, if they're not going back there, try to get them on YouTube for the temporary basis, but then maybe go to Netflix, maybe if you can. See if Netflix has any interest in you. Because if you get into Netflix, maybe you'll get more. You get more eyes on you.
Yeah, but Netflix is WWE now, right? So you have a. Would you cut talent the way TKO are doing at the moment to save costs? Yeah. Would you cut talent, Keith? Would you look at Amazon talent. Prime? Would you look at other platforms that you could jump onto? What would be your ultimate
would you
goal?
Have to put,
if AEW was yours, what would be the ultimate goal by the end?
You would have to cut talent. Like, I don't know how many talent they have overall compared to the WWE's, but I imagine it's not as much as the WWE's.
Too many.
Is it? Right.
Yeah.
Well, then you'll have to cut talents then, and I think then just have a look around at different buyers and see. But there's no harm having them in YouTube because YouTube's a big platform, anyways. So you still get eyes on you. But I wouldn't have it in the long term, to be quite honest with you. I would check like Netflix. Why not Disney Plus or something? Because Disney Plus is a big one, to be honest with you.
Disney also work with WWE though, right?
They own ESPN.
Oh, yeah,
that's another route in. They own ESPN, so that's another route in the door.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Bren, what would you do in this situation when you're talking about AEW's now yours, your full ownership, your task with the terrible objective of trying to find a distributor for your product by the end of 2026? Where do you turn to as a customer, as a you have no doubt you have streaming services, you watch content regularly. What would be your go-to with Netflix as a no-no as it's WWE?
I actually dropped the short on this today. Speaking about this very, very thing. If you're Tony Khan, what do you do? In this case, I'm not Tony
Make sure you
Khan.
go watch the short on YouTube, like, comment, smash.
Well, I meant if I'm Tony Khan, I think I said it about 20 times. Look, first thing I do, let's just say I get in charge tomorrow. Darby Allin, gone. Buck, gone. Jungle Boy, gone. Yesterday's news, history, piss off. Anything, and I'm sorry to all those AEW fans.
No. Here, AEW is yours. No, AEW is yours. You do with it what you please. I'm not doing anything here.
The Cowboy, get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
I put the World Championship on MJF, and I put a good face in there to chase him. That's not bleeding Darby Allin. That's not the Poxy Cowboy. And to be honest with you, that's not Ospreay either. I like Ospreay, I do, but I'm not a fan when it gets too Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil. Oh, jeez, I missed that one.
Right. Forgive me, Dave. Thekla.
Yeah, Thekla. Yeah.
She's a diamond. I would strap a rocket to her.
Yeah.
I'd write a blank check to Tony Storm to come back. Blank check, Screw Hollywood. Come back. If you're having a baby, go on, take the few months off, whatever. Do what you need to do. But I'd want her to come back. But Dave, honestly, with AEW, I'd start with a clean slate. The other thing I'd do is I'd say, right.
Get rid of Sasha Banks as well. That was another one.
Oh, do you know what? She's not even making it on TV with me. Jeff Cobb, bring Jeff Cobb in. Bring Jeff Cobb in. 100%. Look at the free agents. Bring Creed in. Bring Creed in because he's phenomenal. He did not get the right push. Point is, I would start with a blank. I do a blank slate and I build it from the ground. And I would look at what WWE is doing, because my point of the short this morning was, Tony Khan, what in the name of Jesus are you doing to take advantage of the rumors? Even if some of them aren't true, WWE is getting slated. Even the fans are saying, I said it in a video this morning, this is not the WWE I know and love. Yeah. So what do? You study what worked before and just bring it up that way.
Here's something for you. Would you do a type of viral, almost shoot marketing and saying, run your socials posts, run your ads, go on Dynamite, go on Collision, and poke the bear a little bit. Say, you're seeing how they're treating the talent over there. Why not come over here? We've got room for everybody, blah, blah, blah. And kind of just, Niall smiling, there's WCW, the shit out of this.
Come here, absolutely. I would, like I said, I would study what Bischoff did. I would study what Bischoff done, because what he did in 96 and 97, that's what you need. You need that formula again. Okay, don't take it as far. Split the NWO up a lot quicker. But you need that kind of formula, because guess what? It works. We're hungry for it. We're always talking about this golden time and that golden time. Not necessarily the Attitude Era, but just moments, just golden moments.
Brennan, they need to bring in new story. They need to bring in story writers. Good.
So that's the one thing I said on the shore today is I'd pay money for Vince Russo. Do you know what? I'd interview him for the crack so I can tell him to go fuck himself. And then I get a good amount of writers with wrestling knowledge and passion for wrestling. Not just some scrub that was writing in EastEnders last week. I would pick up somebody.
Sure, that's what Vince done. Vince brought in writers from
I know he did.
Knew nothing about wrestling.
And then that's when it took a fucking nosedive. Anyway, Dave, that's what I do. I basically get rid of half the AEW roster. I'd also basically bring in a world title, a mid title, and tag titles, and the same for women, right? That's it.
Agree more.
No other titles. Get a grip. And you know what else I do as well? I know this is, and I know the business reason. I'd shorten the amount of pay-per-views. That's what I do.
So it should be once a month.
No, it should be 6 weeks 6 to 8 weeks in between each pay-per-view, right? Maybe 8, once every 2 months. Do you think
WWE should do the same?
Absolutely. Let the stories build and build and build. And yes, look, but there's a business reason. They need the business reason. They need the money. They need this. I don't give a fuck what they need. I'm the fan. This is what I want.
Fair. No,
yeah, somebody go.
I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, I'm gonna go to Niall now, because Niall's gonna have an aneurysm if I don't get to him soon. Niall, besides your rosy cheeks and your disdain for Bren's rants, what would you do with AEW?
He's going to offend me when I walk into the shop.
Right, Bren, be quiet, you. Niall.
Sorry.
Hit us with your book of knowledge on this matter.
Put it on AMC. It's the fucking Walking Dead, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know what the fuck I do with it, to be honest. You know what I mean? Bren wants to sack the whole roster that people care about, so. And then he's going to try and figure out how to get it back off YouTube. If you get rid of all these people, you're going to be on YouTube for the rest of your life. And that's the biggest fear. If they go on YouTube, they ain't ever getting off YouTube unless it's some scrub channel off the back end of a Fire Stick or something. And that's where they're going to appear. If they go on YouTube, this is the biggest failing in the management of this company. I have to ask yourself, first of all, why are they being got rid of? And two, how can they not seek a TV deal anywhere? It's absolutely insane. And the fact that Bren's right, a lot of the roster probably just aren't good enough and stuff like that. The writing is horrific. You know, the pay-per-views, while they're enjoyable, it's not necessarily that you have to do them 6 or 8 weeks. If you want to do a monthly one, but just make it 6 matches. Just make it easy to enjoy. And that's, for me, that's the problem. I don't know. Like, I listen, it's just, AEW for me is frustrating because you always want an alternative and you always want the product that comes up. You know what I mean? But like, for all their talk and all their mudslinging and all their shit that they throw over the fence and everything else, they still can't even compete with NXT. So the conversation is dead. You know what I mean? They're barely keeping their head above water when it comes at times to TNA. And it's just really, really frustrating. And listen, they have the talent there. They just don't have the people. They need to either turn around to TKO and say, take this off us, or they need to turn around and they need to sell it to someone who actually cares enough about wrestling to put out something that's not just trying to throw shade at the big brother on the far side of the pond. It's just, for me, it's just silly. You know what I mean? I love watching elements of AEW and stuff like that, but like, they just spent 18 months with Mox as the main guy. And for me, that's this Riders thing and this Mox thing. How do you recover from that? And their recovery from that is, okay, we have MJF in there. We're going to take the belt off him because he wants to go off and do a movie. There's commitment as the champion. And they put the belt on Darby Allin. And no disrespect to Darby Allin. I love Darby Allin as a character and I love him as a wrestler there. Maybe he needs to think about his life in the future and whether he wants to be going around on a set of hot rims or whether he wants to be able to walk. But that's a different conversation. You know what I mean? But the real truth in there is there's no one is sense checking that in there, and no one is actually, you know, it's haphazard. It's out of control. You know, it's a money spinning gig. It's Tony Khan having fun. And it's just, there's nothing serious about it. And if you don't take your business serious, the networks are not going to take you serious. And if they fall out of those networks and have no backup plan and they end up on YouTube, on a YouTube channel, it's game over. It's game over. Because they ain't ever getting off there, because what happens is once you go there, they'll make a bit of revenue off it and they'll get views and they'll get all the advertising and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is most networks that they then approach are going to go, so now you're just a YouTube indie. You've gone from here to there. You know what I mean? Let's be honest here. And I think, and you know the funny thing about it from a TKO point of view or a WWE point of view, whatever way you want to look at it, if they bring that in as another brand and they did it the right way and they did it kind of like the Invasion thing, but fucking properly did it and didn't make a bollocks of it, like the way WWE did back in the day, I think they could put something in there that's really fruitful where they can showcase, they have another show or two a week and they can showcase the talent on those shows as well. And then we can get MJF versus whoever you want to put out as a match for that, like that, and promotion with cross talent, the same as some of the stuff they started with TNA, but they didn't really follow through on it, but they should have kept it going because we were excited for it. And I think that that's where they're missing a beat. I don't think in its current guys, no matter who you bring in, no matter who they sign and all this kind of stuff, it's just every opportunity to throw shade and sling mud, and they can't get over it. They can't get over the fact they think they're number 2, but they're actually number 5 or 6, and reality hasn't set in. And it's really, really sad because the talent is there to produce a really, really good show, but the stupidity gets in the way of the enjoyment. So I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do.
No, do you think then, because that's amazing what you said, fair enough, but do you think, are you saying then, am I getting this right, the damage is done to AEW? The damage is done between the CM Punk incident, between what they've been putting out in general. The damage is already done. So there's no real recovering. Can they come back from this? Like one of the things I said in the short this morning is, it'd be mad if AEW could get into a position where they could get into a position to go up against a WWE, and to kind of do that, they'd have to take a few certain steps. But are you saying, am I getting this right? They're not dead in the water, but there's too much damage done. There's too much damage there. Is this? I don't
think there's elements of AEW that as a wrestling fan I enjoy. And I was only talking to 2 people. There was 2 people in today from the States, and we were talking about AEW and stuff like that. And I said to them, look, I don't mind watching AEW, but all the stuff I have to trawl through to get to where I want to get. And sometimes we get episodes of Raw and SmackDown like that as well, but not as prevalent as in AEW. I think AEW in its current ownership and its current setup and its current way of doing things, I just think if you act amateur, you're going to be treated amateur. And it's simple as that. How many times do we come on this podcast and we talk about WWE presentation, camera work, writing, everything that goes with it, the whole package, the way they present stuff, the way they advertise stuff, the way they do this, they look and act like a global organization. Now, as wrestling fans, sometimes we want that Raw match that looks like we're back watching it in a barn on a farm. And we like that kind of stuff at times as well. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think AEW in its current guise and stuff like that, I think if they drop off these networks now and they don't have a network and they just end up on YouTube, I think what's going to happen is, and I hate to say this, come at me if you want in the chat, I think they're going to end up finding their level, and I think that's going to be their level, and that's really, really sad. Because I think if you did get a wrestling mind and wrestling brains and people like that are available out there under the WWE banner or whatever it is, and handle the evasion the proper way and tell Tony Khan, look, your days of running WrestleCon as a promotion are over. You've had your fun. You've had the crack lads and stuff like that. This is not for you. Keep on being that fan and stuff like that and all. And then you get a reality check on the roster. You see who you want and stuff like that and all. Like, you think about it, Bren. If you knock off all the people you said, and I'm not saying you're right or wrong, what are you left with? You're left with Christian going, go fuck yourself. Or you're left with Edge hanging out as Christian's buddy. What else are you left with? You've got Bobby Lashley in there, the almighty. I met Bobby Lashley WrestleMania week. Lovely guy. Reminisced about how 20 years ago I got my first picture with him at WrestleMania 22. Wonderful guy. But what are you going to do with this? You've got MVP just shitting on everyone because he knows that, like, he's soil goods. Forget about it. There's no point. You know what I mean? So he's just going around picking rows with anyone to get clicks and views. You know what I mean? There's nothing of real that you can hang on to there. You know, each month you get a different angle, you get a different way, you get a different trial, different something or other. You know, or someone has a project outside of AEW they need to fuck off to once we link onto it, and they go, right, I'm out of here. Like, how did he put the belt on MJF and suddenly he has a movie to do? See you later. And how is the option in the company drop the belt to Darby Allin? And no disrespect to Darby Allin or nothing like that, but come on. Listen,
he's not the guy.
He's not the guy. When Rey Mysterio became World Heavyweight Champion, I called it at the time that it was the worst thing they ever did because it wasn't believable.
Yeah,
it was only
and it's not believable. It's not believable in a roster that's in there in AEW. It's not believable. You might like the romantic story and you might think this is the guy who climbed Everest and stuck the AEW flag at the top of Everest and all that. No one gives a fuck. At the end of the day, no one really, truly cares.
So, Niall, was that like in comparison to Kofi Kingston winning the title a few years ago?
Well, I don't want to get into that now because I would have one view on that and Dean in the comments would have a very different view on that because we were both at WrestleMania 35 and one of us was fuming at the bar and one of us was dancing around all giddy. And I wasn't the one dancing around all giddy. Let's just put it that way.
So the title has it in the name. It's right there, isn't it? World Heavyweight Champion. So, like, you think about that in boxing and UFC, you have to hit a certain weight to be heavyweight champion. I'm not saying that has to be the kind of staple in wrestling, but it has to be, as Niall said, believable. The guy that has the heavyweight title, if you put it on Obafemi, yeah, well, of course, he's a bloody heavyweight. Put it on Brock, he's a heavyweight. You put it on Roman, he's a heavyweight. It makes sense when you put it on the heavyweight wrestlers. But when you put it on people like Rey Mysterio and Darby Allin, who are light heavyweights at best, it doesn't make any sense. And that's what pissed me off. If you're over the 200-pound mark, fine. 220, whatever. You could pass for it. But it doesn't make any sense. Dave,
as I always say about wrestling, not everyone can be main event, but you can be main event within your main event. But not everyone can be main event. And that's my problem a lot of the times with this.
Yeah. Could Darby Allin have elevated the TNT title to another stratosphere? Absolutely, he could have. Absolutely.
I think Darby needs to calm down, or else he's going to be in a wheelchair in the next couple of years.
Look, Keith, that's his decision. It's the same with Mox. That's their decision. It's nothing we could
Keith,
change.
The problem with a guy like that, Keith, is if he calms down, no one's going to want Darby Allin as like the British style champion.
Oh no, I get that, but as the old wrestler, as the old
everyone follows Darby Allin because they want to see him come off the fucking ladder through a bed of light bulbs and allow the fucking panes
like a
of
Jeff
glass.
Hardy type.
That's what they come to see.
Yeah, he's there. He's there for the shock and awe.
And only by creating that shock and awe, that's why people feed into it. If Darby Allin goes out there, it's like Orange Cassidy. It's Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, these guys, dare I say, and I'm going to put it out here, people are going to drop Danhausen. These guys have a certain following. And people follow these guys.
They follow
very quickly, if you don't do something with it, it becomes old news real quick. And if you don't have the talent in creative to book these things the right way and see them for what they are, you expose these guys and people check out. And that's 100%. The issue. What have we been saying on the podcast here? No one even really wants to see Danhausen in a wrestling ring because he's so good at what he's doing.
He sells everything. And if I were Tony Khan, I would take a back seat. I would nick Scott D'Amore from it. Look at what Scott D'Amore's done with MLW. In the space of 6 months, he's gotten a fucking TV deal and put together a roster that's half decent. TNA should have never gotten rid of Scott D'Amore for a start. And take Scott D'Amore and say, here, Scott, go play, go have fun, go create magic. I'm going to sit back and watch it all happen. That's what I would have Tony Khan do. If I was Tony Khan, I would take a back seat, bring Scott D'Amore in and say, look at the roster you have now. Go and have fun. Go and make this product unique and take
I don't think he wants help, to be honest with you, Tony.
No, he doesn't, but that's the problem. He wants to be the writer, he wants to be the booker, he wants to be the CEO, he wants to be everything. But that's what's going to be, as Niall said, this company's downfall, because we don't know if they don't already have something in the works with the likes of Disney Plus or even Amazon Prime. We don't know if they have anything in the works, because we will never know. So on this AEW thing, Eamon's going to have a fucking freak out if we keep bashing AEW, because Eamon O'Bara's been absolute tonto in the comments.
But this is coming from a love position here. I want AEW to succeed and be a huge wrestling company, and be an actual competitor and an alternative to what we're looking at. I wanted 100%. TNA to be that guy. I wanted ROH to be that guy. I wanted WCW to be that guy. It makes for much better, and it gets people to pull up their fucking socks and actually put in a shift and think about what they're doing. And the problem is, at the moment, the gulf between what we watch. When I watch WWE and I watch AEW, I may as well be watching figure skating and bobsleigh riding. That's the difference. It's not even the same fucking sport. Let's be honest about it. It's not. It couldn't be any.
By the way, no, feel free to take that Raw placard off and make us all bigger.
Yeah, well, if I take it off, I can make us all bigger. There we go.
Oh, there we all are. Look at us. Sorry, Niall. Carry on there.
Yeah, no, that's where I'm coming from, and everyone knows that. Like I went to WrestleMania last year. One of my highlights of WrestleMania week last year was I went to TNA Unbreakable. I even enjoyed a death match between Sami Callihan and Mance Warner. Ask Dean Fitz. We had a great ads emptied their blood bank onto that ring that night, and we had a great night. We had a great time and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not against certain things, but everything has to be done in a reasonable, structured kind of way for a reason. And I just think at times that's missing. And look, we can talk about Punk, we can talk about Cody, we can talk about everything else. And listen, Cody has alluded to it. Cody has alluded to it and said no one knows why he left AEW. And no one who has spoke about it or mentioned that and about it or anywhere near the reason why he left. And he said one day he'll talk about it. Which leads me to believe that I don't think it's good. I don't think himself and Tony Khan went out for a flat white or something like that and had a good time.
No, I genuinely think Tony Khan felt that Cody was getting too big for his boots, when in reality he was becoming the biggest star in the company and only been handed the TNT title. That's where I think it went, and I think it ended very badly, and those words had. But
Dave, do you not think it was that he saw WWE on the horizon and he just wanted to go back to WWE for one more time, basically?
No. He wanted to be
not like that.
Cody wanted to be professional. Cody wanted to be in front of the best camera operators. Cody wanted to have his outfits made by the best seamstresses. He wanted to have the best entrances in the business. And the only way you're going to do that is to go to the biggest company in the business. And that's WWE, where one woman is making your costume. The guy on the camera is asking you where you want you to stand. Trips is out there telling you, don't look here, look here. I want you to be here at this point in time. About 50 seconds into your entrance, you're going to go, whoa, and all this stuff. He wants the professional production level. And that's why he went to WWE, because he knew that he had the tools in him.
Did you see the background video they did on Triple H the other day when he was doing all the entrances for WrestleMania? Yeah. The amount of work that guy went in to make sure everyone's fucking entrance was pristine. Absolutely pristine to the millimeter. Yeah. This is the microscopic way they do things there. Everything is absolutely.
He also had Vince as well, Niall.
But the difference between that and Tony Khan is Triple H listens to the people around him to help build these productions. Triple H has people like Abyss. He's got people like Bobby Roode, Hurricane. He's got all these guys who he put in producer positions because they've been in the ring. They know how things work. He's tapping into the knowledge that was there when he was coming up in NXT. But
AEW had these guys as well, and they fucked them all off. AEW
because Tony
had the Aaron Andersons, had the Tully Blanchards, had the Jake the Snake Roberts, had all these different guys in there. Yeah. And he just fucking sent them out the door because the talent that was in there refused to fucking listen. And that's when it just goes.
Because Tony Khan would rather be your friend than your boss. And that is the death knell of AEW. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a huge AEW
how are you?
fan,
imagine if you're a 25-year-old wrestler in AEW. And you're able to reap all the best knowledge off. You're able to reap the knowledge. You're able to reap the knowledge off Aaron Anderson. And instead of reaping the knowledge off Aaron Anderson, you're walking down the corridor with the Bucks being a sneery bastard about it. Like, you know, this.
Not even that. But you have Jeff Jarrett still on program.
Yeah, Dave, you've seen the Shawn Michaels documentary. Look at how approachable he is, and look at how of his knowledge. You know, and you see Albert down there as well, and all those other guys and girls down there as well, imparting knowledge. And these people are down there, they're like sponges. They're not walking around going, did anyone pick up the pizza cutter and catering because we need it for match 3? Fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, it's insane.
This is what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Tony Khan would rather be the bro at the side of the top talent than actually care about the rest of the roster. Now, Reggie, thanks for coming in. It's good to see you, mate. Tony Khan says Tony Khan saved ROH, bro. Yeah, he saved ROH from death, but he's done fucking nothing with it. He's put it on a shelf. He's not even used it. ROH could be an NXT competitor. Never mind AEW. ROH could compete with NXT if it's produced correct.
Dave. Ring of Honor.
I know it's dead. I'm just saying what he could have done with it could have been so much better.
Do you know what he's doing with it now?
You know.
Did you ever see that one in The Simpsons? Stop it. He's already dead. That's what he's doing to our Ring of Honor. It's absolutely disgraceful.
Do you want to know why? Because he's got nobody running it. Because he can't run everything. He's got nobody running ROH.
That's what happens.
Tony Khan needs to run everything.
And by the way, I know I come across as negative about AEW, but like Noel said, it's got its good points. But what you have with Tony Khan is you've got a kid collecting all of his favorite figures and then getting bored of them.
He's getting
bored of them, wanting to fit in with the cool kids.
But just remember how you're a mark as well.
Like,
there's a mark in all of us. But just the thing about it is, let's not forget how excited we all were when AEW launched. And you had Jericho and all these different people and Cody and everyone else. And we remember the press conferences and the entrances and everything else and all. And we were so excited for it. And we were going, right, here we go again. We're going to get an alternative. Know what they're doing, blah, 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 blah. They're going to bring in people at the opportunity to go mix it up with the best of what's out there available on the indie circuit and stuff like that. And we're going to have a great time again as wrestling fans. And the mudslinging is going to be done in a way that we really enjoy it. But it's pittered out, like it's really pittered out, and it's so you know. And listen, wrestling is about opinions, and not everyone's going to have the same opinion. But the problem that we do have as wrestling fans and as human beings living on this planet as well is we only have a certain amount of time to dedicate to our entertainment. And the problem is now We are so awash with documentaries, reality TV, wrestling, this show, that show. Like, let's be honest, we could all sit down on a Monday and watch wrestling all the way through to Sunday if we wanted. And the problem is we can't absorb that amount of time because we've got lives to get on with and stuff like that. So the problem that they have now is you're faced with a dilemma. So what do you pick? What do you watch? Do is you catch up on the other stuff as quick as you can and you have a look at it. And if there's something interesting, you tune in. If there isn't, you tune out. And that's the problem. And I think probably the problem for AEW at times is it doesn't capture people enough to say, I'm going to come back next week and the week after and the week after that, and I'm going to follow this thing here. Even if it's only one storyline or two storylines, I'm going to follow that all the way to Double or Nothing, or all the way to All In, or all the way to All Out. And I'm going to get my kickback off that, and that's what I'm going to take from it. And Dave, you know from the shows we've done, we try and dissect down those shows, talk about what's really, really good in it. One of our favourite shows this year was the one that had, 7 matches on it? Can't remember which was it, Revolution.
We spoke. I mean, we spoke about how consistent the AEW pay-per-views were in 2025 and how much we loved the AEW pay-per-views in 2025, and that was only last year. We're not far gone from it. But they really need to up their game if they're going to sell tickets to Wembley Stadium this year. I remember 2023. I was there for All In 2023. I remember they announced it. I got me tickets straight away. I was absolutely buzzing. We met a ton of friends down in London. Yeah, exactly. There is. But the problem, like the excitement we had going into All In 2023 was just, it's Wembley. It's a wrestling show. You're putting on a mania level, and it was. I'll die on this hill now, my first hill, but I will die on the hill that being at that show, it was up there with some of them, not all of the manias now, but some mania events that I watched on television. It felt like it was up there. It had the fireworks, 80,000 people, the entrance, the ring, the whole atmosphere felt like a WrestleMania. And since then, we'll touch on what Brent said here. For me, AEW peaked at All In 2023.
I think
that was it
for me.
Because I'm only saying that because they drew over 80,000 in Wembley Stadium. For a promotion that isn't WWE to do that, it's remarkable. So for me, the peak was 2023 at All In because that's when all the Punk shit happened, and all of that crap. But look, we'll leave it there for AEW, and we'll move on to the next. Sorry, go on, Brett.
Just before we, I'll close my part on it with this. We have, like Niall said, we have opinions. There's no right or wrong in this. There's just Sharon's latest comment was, lads, you had me worried about the event in August. There's a big difference between choosing what to watch on television and being in the crowd. When you're in the crowd, it's a different ball game. And that's what we're going to feel. When we're in the crowd, when we're there, we're going to feel it, and it's going to be phenomenal.
Sharon, let me put your mind at ease. I've been to 2 All-Ins in Wembley Stadium, and I'm going back, regardless of whether I'm in love with AEW at the time or not. I'm going back because the weekend itself, with the build-up, the wrestling fans are all over London. When you head towards Wembley, is 10,000 of you walking towards the gate. You get your merch. The merch stands are outside as well, so you queue up for your merch before going in. You go in, you walk up, and there's the stadium open. There's the ring. There's the Titantron. There's the whole lot. When you're going to these shows in person, Sharon, you won't be disappointed, regardless, because it's all about the atmosphere. It's all about the occasion. And it's all about what you're seeing there and then. Brent's got his ticket. Brent's the one sitting here slating AEW. He's got his ticket all in.
Can't wait.
I'm just saying.
Let's make this clear here as well. We're all talking about AEW because we wanted to succeed.
100%.
I want AEW YouTube. That's not what I want. I want AEW to be successful. I want the wrestlers in there to be successful and happy. I want them to give us gripping storylines, get us out of our seat and make us care. We care about AEW. This is not WWE guys shitting on AEW. This is me telling you, I want AEW to become a better version of WCW. I told you already, if it was to come under the umbrella of WWE, I want them to handle an invasion angle properly, not like the bollocks they made of the last one. I want it to succeed. I want it to be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
But there's certain elements in there that just make you want to switch off a bit. And that's the truth.
That's true.
And you can turn around and say people love AEW. People don't love AEW enough to keep it on Paramount or keep it on Warner or whatever it is. They're talking about it dropping back to YouTube, Eamon. If that's the case, then there is something inherently wrong with the product. You might love it. I might love elements of it. Dave might love it. But the other 5 million that you need to love it don't care enough to love it. Tellboy off TNA, who's front and center, loves TNA. But we need to bring it in, the masses. And we need that people want to buy into and want to come back week in, week out with their entertainment time that is very tight at the moment in terms of people's lives. That's all I'm saying.
100%. Look, 110%. Sharon, look, I'll end it on the fact that you've nothing to worry about at all. What's happening, Reggie? You've nothing to worry about at all, Sharon. Look, it's David Kelly's is saying there as well. It's a very good point. Sharon, it's what you make of it yourself too. I brought Layla to Belfast just for the experience and she loved it. There you go. It's what you make of it yourself. Absolutely. Reggie, it's a good point, but the problem with that was TNT, Turner wanted to keep it, AOL wanted to bin it. When that merger happened with AOL Time Warner happened, WWE was dead because it was doing absolute shite. You're talking 1,000, 1,500 people in the door every week. It was dead on its nails anyway. But we'll go on to the final topic of conversation, which we touched on earlier, lads. TKO. And it's good that we have a business mind in the house as well. Niall obviously runs his own business. He has a bit of business acumen in there. He can give us a businessman's perspective as well on this. But I'll start with Niall, actually. Give us. I know you've spoken about it already, but TKO getting rid of the dead wood in WWE. Why are people making such a fuss about it when in reality, you've made a good point, and it's not bothered me in the instance of these people gone because the people that have gone, we've not even seen. Most of the NXT roster or the LFG roster that's been let go, the Evolve roster, never even heard or seen of them. And with the WWE, Alistair Black going, it's rubbed a couple of people the wrong way, but are we going to miss him? Have we asked for him back on TV?
Cross as well.
Karrion Kross, we all said the same fucking thing about Karrion Kross, and he was let go. He had his little bit in time in the sun on the indies. He made his stupid little film, and now nobody gives a fuck and nobody watches because nobody wants to fucking see Karrion Kross. No, it's the truth. He had his little documentary. He had his little cry in time, and nobody wants Karrion Kross. Even AEW brand doesn't want fucking Karrion Kross, and that should tell you something.
Well, they don't want Alistair Black either.
They already had him.
BTW.
They already had him. But Niall, what's your thoughts on this? They've gotten rid of people, and people are crying out for them to be brought back and stuff like that.
Look, I think what happens here is there's a mixture of emotion going on here. There's people who they are genuinely letting go, because they don't feel that they're bringing anything to the product, or maybe they're looking at them and they're saying, "Well, where's the value in what we're paying?" And listen, regardless of what we think, all these guys and girls in here are really well paid. If they weren't, they wouldn't be doing it. They'd be checking receipts at Walmart. So let's get that straight, first of all, right? But the thing about it is, you have to add value in order to be an employee. And that's the way it's always worked. The problem what we're having here at the moment is we have a mixture of people who are not happy to get lowballed on their contract. So they're deciding to move on, a la the New Day. We think maybe the same thing happened with Brock Lesnar, and that's why the story's coming out that maybe that's why the retirement happened at Mania, that he seen this coming down the line as well and basically gave them the two fingers. And that's fine. But the thing about this is, you know, if you're the guy who's shown up for 15 or 20 dates a year, and I take Roman as an example, and there's no bigger Roman Reigns fan than me, by the way, as people know Reigns. Okay.
Or Keith.
If you look at Roman Reigns is doing whatever it is, 15, 20 dates a year. No, we looked at it last much the schedule has rolled right back these days and stuff like that and all, right?
Yeah.
This guy's getting paid $15 million apparently a year. And I'd say that's only a drop in the ocean because that's only the downside. That probably doesn't include bonuses and merchandise and endorsements and everything else. The guy is up to the gillies and Air Jordans and everything else. He ain't doing that for free.
He just got 11.5 million just for WrestleMania. I said that to Dave a few weeks ago.
So this guy is pulling serious wedge. So if TKO call you in and go, listen, we want to pay you this wedge, or we want you to take a bit of a cut because, you know, you're working basically 2 months a year. So this is how we have looked at it. So do you want to do more dates and bring more value to the company? or do you want to take the cut? Now, these guys obviously get used to a certain lifestyle. They're planning. We know that it's a short career, or it can be a short career, and we know that they're planning for families and all that. But like, if I'm Roman Reigns and I'm going, okay, you want me to go for 15 or 16 million, and you want me to get down to 10 million? Yes, that's a cut. That's still a heck of a deal. And we always talk about this. We had the debate last Hulk Hogan, and about how Hulk Hogan laid the foundation for this building for people to make this kind of generational wealth. And that without Hulk Hogan, these guys and girls wouldn't be making this kind of dough. They'd still be wrestling in Thunderland for $50 or whatever it is. These guys are now making millions. And some of them are making millions to either sit at home, sit in catering. And at some stage, when a company comes together and merges or takes over, that all has to be looked at. And I don't think it sits well. And as I said already, billionaires become billionaires because they're successful. Because 9 times out of 10, they make the right decisions. And we get very emotional as fans because we remember the New Day, because we remember Karrion Kross,
No, we don't.
We get upset over our truth. No, but you know what I mean? I'm talking about the IWC. I'm not talking about us who actually live in the reality of wrestling, and we have different age groups here, different knowledge, different experience, all that kind of stuff. I think, in all honesty, coming from a business point of view, you have to present your value. And if you don't present your value, then they have to look at it. They have to look at it and say, listen, we have the New Day here, up, down, down. Yeah, we love all that kind of stuff and all. But the reality is, what are these guys bringing in? And the reality is, we spoke about it earlier, when Biggie's out, boys were there, they rode a little bit of a wave still that was there. There was talk of them separating as singles competitors. And I turned around and I said, within 6 months, both of them be gone because they'd have nothing for them.
Yeah.
And the reality is, it's come later, and they didn't break them up, and it's both of them together.
Yeah.
They got lowballed on the contract. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the level of lowball is. Kofi Kingston is in WWE 18 years. 18 years. Yeah. That guy should be down in the performance center, schooling the next set of talent. He should be working all across. Should be doing so much.
If he can, that's if he
can.
Are they doing it?
I don't want them.
Exactly. But Poker made a good comment there.
If he has the desire. Yeah.
True. Pop up Poker's comment there. The Sophia moment was built and built and built. People believed it, whereas Darby Allin's moment was like Danhausen. Yeah. Should have put more work into having longer matches at Mania. Don't know about that now. Not too sure. Tony Khan back Jungle Boy over CM Punk. Only one of them is truly making money. Yeah. Good point. So look at the next one. What they doing with Josh Alexander? Nothing. Well, he's part of that. He's part of that bloody faction, Don Callis family, isn't he? So yeah, basically might as well be doing nothing.
I think I'm part of that family.
Yeah, just too many. TKO screwing WWE over as far as I can tell you, bro. I don't know. When you look at it from a business point of view, I don't think they're screwing WWE over as much as you think.
And they're serious debt as well, aren't they? Like $5 billion or something.
It depends on the conversation. It depends on the conversations that they're having, in my opinion. Because Noel brought up a brilliant point about what did he say?
Tony Khan's a femboy, like a suckling piglet on a spit roast for main talent at AEW. Noel, can you pop Poker's comment up there from 22 minutes past? You can get to it.
This one? 22.
Drew, the one about Drew. Drew has come out and said that TKO has made the choice to cut the number. He's
basically saying that, which means Drew McIntyre only gets. Go on.
There we go. Drew has come out and said that TKO made the choice to cut the number of dates some of them are appearing on. With house shows gone, he said he can end up wrestling once every 2 or 3 months at times.
See, that's not really good, though, in a lot of sense. You know, because you kind of need the house shows to get.
Don't get me wrong, I missed them. Here, look, Keith, I missed the house shows. I've said this before. I missed the house shows because.
But it builds up chemistry as well for wrestlers.
But,
you know what I mean?
But house shows are fun because there's no storyline really involved in house shows. They can do what they want. The house shows, have fun with the crowd at house shows. It's a great bit of a laugh going to the house shows and just enjoying the matches that are there because you're not really focused on the storylines and stuff. That's why I always loved house shows. You can go and just enjoy them for what they are. You know what I mean? They're gone now.
Yeah, but we've
It's
also
either you-
remember as well. We've also cheerleaded that point, that the fact that the guys and girls get more time off with their family and are less worked in terms of having career longevity and all that kind of stuff as well. So trying to find the balance. The other thing I would say is for Drew McIntyre coming out with that. Drew McIntyre had a sensational 2025 and also into 2026 as well. He was one of the key reasons for watching the product at one stage, and he literally feuded with everyone of note, and he was fantastic. Now, listen, it took a little bit longer than I wanted to get the gold back on his waist, and then when they put it back on, it was contrived in a way that was poxy, and I get that. But in terms of Drew McIntyre, Drew McIntyre ain't appearing on our screens once every 2 months in 2025. He's there weekly, and he's involved in top-end feuds and shows and stuff that we watched. We have the watch-alongs and we have the reaction shows and all. Drew McIntyre was heavy in 2025, no doubt about it.
He says, I'm not talking about for the wrestlers. That is in response to Niall discussing from a business point of view and then making themselves valuable.
So is he saying how can they make themselves valuable with the limited time? So it's similar to what we were talking about half an hour ago.
Sure. But Bren, what's your choice on our choice? What's your thoughts on TKO? Is it their business as a whole? From a fan point of view, you know, you've seen the cuts being made. You've seen TKO, so there's actually potentially more cuts to come very, very soon if Fightful and other outlets are to be believed. And obviously the 25-year veteran backstage production guy who was let go as well. What's your thoughts on all this?
Look, Dave, there's a reason I'm not running a business and I'm working for the government. You know what I mean? I'm not business savvy, yeah. And that's all there is to it. So I don't really see it from the business perspective. I understand what Niall's saying, but I just
but give me your thoughts from a fan perspective. That's exactly what I want.
I think if everything is true as to what's going on, it's like I said in the short this morning. It's not it's losing its soul to me, and maybe it's just me having to. Maybe I have to evolve a bit more with the product. I don't know, but it's soulless now. It's just all soulless. And you could argue, look, wrestling's always been about numbers. It's always been about this, but there was always a bit of magic to it. There was always a bit of soul to it. And from what I can see, like when I watched Raw, seeing Reigns doing what he was doing, I was into it. I was like, that's it. And then you go onto the wrestling news sites, which again is my choice, and you're looking at those the poxy headlines and this and that, and it's losing its soul every time you hear something like that. People are losing. We're losing different people. And look, we move on fairly quickly. I moved on from Karrion Kross fairly quickly. I did. Admittedly, I did. Whoa.
That you did, Bren. That you did.
It's just a bit. It's all a bit soulless for me, David. And like that. No, I get what you're saying. Business standpoint, all that stuff. But there's just something about it. There's just something not right. That doesn't sit right.
What was soulless about WrestleMania 42 Night 2?
The ads.
Well, I mean, I have to be honest. I wasn't going to say that. So thanks for that. Tag team. But
so
yeah,
is Netflix and WWE the only people who play ads and were bombarded with ads in every facet?
No, come here. To be honest, I wouldn't have said ads because I wouldn't have thought of ads. To be honest with you, because when I think of Night 2, I don't think of ads, and I think of the.
You think of the Hogan documentary.
I'm looking at it holistically. I'm looking at it holistically. I'm looking at the holistic. I'm looking at the whole thing across the board, and I'm saying how I feel about it. Like this week, in the last 2 weeks, watching that news drop almost on a daily basis, it's a bit disheartening. You know what I mean? It
happens every year. But it happens every year. People there's a batch of releases after Mania. What's different this year than from the last 3 or 4 years?
If I had been on this podcast last year, we'd probably be having the same conversation. It's a bit of a soulless time, and Niall hit the nail on the head. It's that kind of period between after WrestleMania and between the next thing. There's something drops off anyway, and then you're getting all that news, and it's just, to me, it's a bit soulless. That's just how I feel towards it.
Yeah, what happens after WrestleMania is they look at WrestleMania and they realize that there was 30 wrestlers involved in WrestleMania over both nights or whatever it is, and that they have 160 wrestlers on the books. So that's the penny drops. We can't turn around and come on here and say the product feels soulless when we just gave Raw a 7 or an 8 out of 10 this week. What the hell are we at here? What are we about here? We just said Raw was an 8 out of 10 or a 7
And it
out
was
of 10
great.
this week.
And I
And now we're
really
saying the product is soulless.
come here.
And listen, and this is the Raw after the releases. The New Day have left. This one and that one and everyone else has left. Contracts are up in the air. Some people have agreed. Some people have disagreed that they don't want to take the cuts and stuff like that. So I'm sure the locker room is up in arms at times and very concerned about their jobs and stuff like that. We just has a Raw that we give 7 or 8 out of 10.
But Niall, I was asked about how I feel about the releases. I wasn't asked how I felt about Raw. And I said they feel soulless. It makes it feel and look soulless to me. And I don't like that. Did I like Raw? Absolutely. Of course I liked Raw.
Mhm.
Get it. But as a whole, and again, I just don't. I'm not a very business savvy guy. Not an excuse, but I'm
Now,
not.
Sharon's
dangerous,
asked there.
the most dangerous thing in a business is to go with the individual's valuation of themselves. That's a very dangerous game to play.
Oh, it's a
Because
stupid
if we
thing
go
to do.
with the individual's valuation of themselves, everyone thinks they should be world champion.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
100%.
that's a real problem.
100%.
That's a real problem.
Yeah.
That's a Tony Khan problem. But Sharon turned around and said there's so many this year. Has there been this much every year? Have I not seen? There has, Sharon. The only difference between the recent years and this year is they have 3 or 4 different promotions to release from. Evolve had people go, which we didn't have last year or the year before. There was no releases because Evolve wasn't part of the WWE. Then you have NXT, where Sean was inundated with talent from numerous generations of NXT. And let's face it, NXT has 7 or 8 people on it every week.
Boyfriend, he's
and
gone into A&A. They have nothing
He's
for
gone
him
to AAA because there's nothing for him. Because look, there has to be cuts because you can't just keep someone on the payroll while they're just training in the performance center. Like Niall said, they have to be earning. They have to be earning the company money to earn the money themselves.
Yeah.
There's usually all of these releases this time of year, Sharon, if not more actually. But because there's now NXT, Evolve, LFG, because you're seeing all the releases across every promotion, it's looking bigger than it is. But I'll tell you now, there's been bigger in recent years than there is this year. And I remember the 2023 or 2022 releases where there was about 17 to 20 of them that were gone in one go. And then the next day there was more, and the next day there was more. And you know what's funny? We don't think about them anymore, and we don't remember them when they were released. Sad as it sounds, and as horrible as that is to say as a person losing their job,
Well,
we still don't talk about them.
We know what happened here. Take the New Day as an example. TKO went in and said, look, lads, this is the value to the company that we're at the moment.
Yep.
We can't keep on living in 2010 to 2012. And we know what the reaction from the guys was. Ari, do New Day not still rock? Because New Day rocks. That's not the way it works. Lads, I'm sorry, that's not the way it works. And you might
You're
not
wrong,
like
Niall.
it, and it might be the reality of it, but that's the way it works. You can't
But
just
New Day
hang
does
out
rock.
backstage like a bad smell because New Day rocks. New Day rocks. Get the fuck out of here and do something.
When's the last time New Day sold a
something
t-shirt?
more. Come on. Their t-shirts sell great. There's no issue with the t-shirts and stuff like that. The problem is they're not on our screens long enough to give us something that we cared about, to flood the merch out there the way they didn't do it. It's hard to believe, and I said this to Brent the other day, it's hard to believe that the member of the New Day who broke his neck is still the guy who's employed. Let that
because
sink
he
in.
made something for himself in other areas of the business.
Yeah. And he could have sat at home and he could have said, fuck you guys, and be sitting at home now. And look at how Big E has evolved over the last year and a half or 2 years since he came back from that neck injury and stuff like that. And he was the cement and the bond that held that New Day together. He was that guy.
Yeah. I always said he had his neck been okay, he should have been the one to pin Cena on his last match.
Did we not read that Vince wanted Big E to be champ, and Tripp said, "I want Roman Reigns." It could have swung the other way.
Wasn't Big E champ though? Wasn't he for a while?
No, but Vince had a choice between Big E. Vince was wanting Big E to be where Reigns is now.
Oh, sorry.
And Tripp said, "I want Roman Reigns." Vince said, "I want Big E." And they had to choose one way. I'm sorry to say it, they made the right decision.
Well, it's not to say Big E wouldn't have succeeded. Do you know?
I had a manager.
No, we don't know. We don't know how it would have went with Big E. But we look at the sheer like gravitas that is Roman Reigns walking onto our screens every week. You know,
Like I said before, Roman always makes the product better. It doesn't matter when it is or when he comes back. He always.
But
makes
that's
it.
why I always
Look-
want to see more of him. It's not that I'm complaining that he has a part-time schedule. It's because, well, it is, but it's because I want to see more of Roman Reigns on
But-
my TV.
Just on that, Dave, I alluded to earlier on. I won't spend long on it. This whole Reigns contractual thing. Somebody I read it today. I'm not sure what's true, what's not true these days. The lines are blurred for me. But they said, has anyone just thought that a lot of the dates are international and that he's still in remission? This dude
Roman
still has
Reigns,
cancer.
yeah, so he's in remission. Doesn't mean the cancer's gone. The cancer's still there. He's in
Precisely.
remission, right?
So why should he be doing all the traveling?
Roman Reigns has said it himself. People have come out in his family and said it. Roman has max 2 years left, including 2026 into 2027, maybe a little bit of
Jesus, Dave,
2028,
don't say it
right?
like that.
No, but he said it, not me, because his
Right.
body.
No,
he
not
wants to
two
preserve his
years
body
left
for
in
later in
wrestling
life.
or whatever. Not 2 years left.
Yeah,
Like.
not in his life.
Oh,
Jesus.
not
2 years in
Really,
wrestling, Brent.
I appreciate you
Right?
clarifying that, Niall.
Oh,
Hey,
Keith
so
is
I was
gone.
looking at
He's
it,
shocked.
holy shit, this has gone south. I was going, holy shit.
What do you know?
No. He's got 2 years left in a wrestling ring, and then he can build a schedule in Hollywood or whatever around his own health, preserving the health that he has currently and making his life longer for himself. So I understand where Roman Reigns is coming from. That's why he got the contract that he did before TKO took over, where he appears 10, 15 times a year. He still gets the big $15 million a year contract or whatever. Doesn't include the merch and all the rest of that stuff. And we've only got 2 years of Roman Reigns on our screens left in
Well,
wrestling.
that's
So
the
I
same-
want
that's the same
all
with
of that
Seth
on my
Rollins as well.
screen. I want all of that on my screen because I want that aura every week, because that's what makes me tune in. Without that, you've got a problem, because who's going to bring that aura back? The only person I can see
Braun
developing,
Breaker.
the only person I can see develop an aura like Roman's in time and with training and with the right work and the right decisions is Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
It's very
Right.
common.
That's the only person I can see that has the potential to have that aura, that people want to pay money to see him walk down to a 20x20 ring and face someone as Braun Breaker. Has the potential, but he'll get there is another story. But we'll go to the birthdays. But before we do that, actually, we'll get some comments in. Bren, what are you smelling your face? What was that, Bren? I didn't get to finish that comment.
No, Anne Marie just gave
Bren,
me.
what are you smelling your face? Says absolutely not like.
No, it's a peatable gummy, right? And apparently
dry?
Anne Marie just gave it to me there. Yeah, but it's not my bag, baby. So I'm gonna leave it there.
Dry, not your bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Get out of here.
It's a bit too wet for me, actually. Come on, anyway.
Niall, I'm on.
Go on, Reggie, you legend.
Reggie.
Go on, legend.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Reggie. That is fantastic
Freaking
news,
hero.
bro. That is fantastic news. What a milestone. Cheers, Reggie, for that.
Amazing.
We'll get into the birthdays. We'll start off the birthdays with with a controversial one. Take it as you will. The cult hero that is Brad Maddox. We have up next Orange
What a
Cassidy.
week. Hang on.
Yep.
What a week. What a week to celebrate Brad Maddox's birthday. I'll just leave it there. So,
Brad Maddox, 1984. We have Dory
Wow.
Funk Sr., 1919. Orange Cassidy, 1984. Scott Armstrong, 1961. We have the legendary Cowboy Bill Watts, Mid-South, I believe. Cowboy Bill Watts, 1939. Brooke Hogan, 1988, same as myself. We
Speak of
then
things, Brent.
have... We have Colt Cabana, 1980, Piper Niven, 1991, and we have the person who may or may not return in Kevin Owens, 1984. We have the late, great, and forever immortal Owen Hart, 1965, who has his birthday this week.
His
And
anniversary.
unfortunately, he celebrates his birthday along with Tonga Loa.
Just
We
on
then
that,
have...
his death. Sorry to cut over you. His death anniversary is obviously the May 23rd. Guess what? It is Keith. It's the day of the SmackDown show. It's Saturday, so we're gonna
I say
cover some Owen Hart
you
that day.
honor. I say you do a little Owen Hart tribute for that one.
We're gonna
we'll
have a
finish.
King of Hearts.
We'll finish off the birthdays with just two more, and that is, of course, Will Ospreay, and finally we'll round it off with former backstage and front of house commentator Kevin Kelly.
Hello.
Those are your
Hello? Kevin
birthdays.
Hello.
Sorry, what was there another one? Was there another one? Did I hear another one?
Yes.
Ah, yeah, of course. How
course.
could I ever forget the legend that is David Kelly in the chat? Happy birthday from all of
No
us here
relation to
at
Kevin.
BWW. We thank you for tuning in every week, mate. You're always here. And happy birthday from all of us. 43. Wow.
43. And how did I meet Dave? I hear nobody asking.
Glory
We
hole.
worked together in Duns when I was 15, but go on anyway.
Eating a dry roll.
So we'll get on to our notable events, and this one was a fun one to research because there is one particular event that was quite unusual for the time. We will go back to 1985, May 5th, in the Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. World Class Championship Wrestling held Parade of Champions 2, where Buddy Roberts, the Von Erichs, and the Freebirds teamed together in the ring to take on Chris Adams, Gino Hernandez, Kamala, One Man Gang, Rip Oliver, and Steve Williams. And they won that match. And it's incredible. In 1985, we've seen the Freebirds and the Von Erichs team together in a 10-man tag match. Then we go to Saturday, May 5th, 2001. WWF Insurrection took place in Earl's Court in London. And the
Guess
main
who was
event
there?
for that one,
You.
Bren?
This guy. I was there, yeah.
Bren was there for The Undertaker to defeat Steve Austin and Triple H in a handicap tag to win the WWF Championship. And we'll end the events and the history tonight with a special one. WWE was live with Raw in Dublin for the first time, and that was at the 3 Arena on the 5th of May 2017. And in the main event, we had Finn Balor and Seth Rollins take on Bray Wyatt and Samoa Joe in a tag team match. And to open, also Sheamus was in the opening match because he was a member of the Bar. There was a fatal 4-way tag match for the Raw Tag Team Championships, which were won by the Hardys in the 3 Arena. And that rounds out your history for the evening.
Great job.
So,
Top job.
one last little tidbit that Sheamus in 2014 on this day won the United States Championship.
Oi.
Throwing that out there. But yeah, that's
Brent.
tonight's show.
Did he tell you last week at the autograph signing to include it, did he? Jesus Christ.
Well, I'll tell you what, that rounds off tonight's show, guys. Thanks for joining me this evening. Thanks for allowing me the privilege of hosting the show this week. And it'll be back to normal next week. Or will it? Who is hosting next week?
Will it be back to normal next week?
Will it be back to normal? We don't know. You'll have to tune in to find out because we're not going to tell you. So you have to find out next week who's in the hot seat.
We probably will in the socials.
Absolutely. Well, listen, folks, thanks for jumping in. Thanks for comments. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for the likes. And we will see you next week on Pro Wrestling Weekly. Have a good night.
Good night. God bless.